All right, guys, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. This is episode number 360, and we've got some exciting technology that we want to talk to you guys about today. We're going to talk about specifically Inrange, which is something that we just got to experience. We were down at the golf range at Branchburg in Branchburg,
back
New
in the
Jersey.
warm now.
Now, yeah, it's back indoors, but it was nice to be outside swinging a club. You know, here January cold, but whatever. Like I said, if there's no snow on the ground, we're out there. We're out there swinging, but. The reason why this tech excites us is largely because we always talk about bringing more people to the game, making the game more inclusive, making the game more fun. And I think this is the type of thing that really helps get us over the line for that type of stuff, because it makes not only make practice more fun, which ultimately is a big part of why how we get better. We talk about getting better each time on the podcast and things you can do. And practice is so important, but in order to do that, you want to have fun doing it because it makes you want to have those practice sessions. So it does that. But the other thing that this type of technology does is it makes the game more fun for maybe people who are new to the game. Specifically, and we'll talk more about this in a second, Mike, but when you have these places that are more of an experience, an off golf course experience, but where it can be fun, like I said, for non-golfers.
Yes,
I think it becomes like this entry, like kind of like a gateway drug towards getting out there on the course itself. But again, what you have with this type of technology is it's a lot like where was it? Like Top Tracer, I'm thinking.
Top Tracer technology at some ranges we've been to.
Exactly. Topgolf. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of things you guys, if you haven't seen Inrange yet, some things you might be familiar with, but Topgolf is one of them, where you hit the golf ball and then on the virtual screen, you're seeing where the ball goes. But as part of that, they can build out almost all types of like an augmented reality.
Yes.
So there are targets that are physically out there in the range that you can see, but also you're seeing them now virtually. And as part of that, you can create different games. And for example, there was one where we were playing blackjack.
That was so cool.
That was really cool. And as part of doing that, like I said, we are creating a practice session by having specific targets we need to hit. But also, again, for people who are newly into the game, they can go out there and similarly just be playing blackjack and taking swings and learning to hit these different targets, and then those skills will eventually translate to the golf course.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, you nailed it before. You said entry level gateway, getting us into the game. And there's a lot of us out there who you may be listening to this show where you're a golfer at heart, but you don't have the guts to really get out there to play it. Like you don't feel confident enough to get out there and play it yet with people, or even at the range. Sometimes you get intimidated.
Yeah,
right?
You're worried about holding people up. You're worried about how you look out there.
Right.
So then you take an environment like this, where you have, food, drink, a lot of like just community, people hanging out, and you have your own bay. You don't have to worry about someone behind you that you're holding up. And then right there, you're able to still be playing in a way that, these are short games. Maybe they last 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
And you're just out there just playing, hitting some targets. Have a little bit of fun when you see the graphics on the screen.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, the big part of that is going to be, it's going to help bring more people into the game as we see more and more of this.
Well, I mean, think about how that kind of stinks that, going to a driving range for the most amateur golfer can be intimidating. Think about it. Like you're hitting a bucket of balls in front of a lot of people and you're hitting it all over the place. You're not good yet. You just started.
Right.
It's very intimidating. That stinks that you can't practice something you want to get better at because you're scared of looking bad doing it. I think like this technology, Topgolf, we talked about it millions of times, going to places like 5 Iron, these indoor places where you could just get away from all that and be you because it is a fun environment. I mean, this place we went to today, Frank, they had TVs up there, the NFL Network, they're doing renovations, so they're bringing in refrigerators right inside the bays, and he said it's going to be really cool hangout spots. I can't wait to go back and do a meetup there. Yeah, because it's the ultimate spot. Mm-hmm. But I love how it just breaks people out of their comfort zone. Come down, play 21 blackjack.
Right.
And if you don't win, oh well, you had fun.
Exactly. And what other sports can you really do this with? You know what I mean? You don't have it where they're kind of the sport is right worked in, but there's also secondary to that. Like I said, you're in a place that's serving food, that's serving, alcohol, and people are having like a good time. Like it's like a bar. You don't go to a bar and play baseball. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I think that it's a good way that the sport is adaptable to other things and can be woven into other areas of people's lives. And I think that's where the paths end up crossing, where maybe you're going to be going out and be like, you wouldn't necessarily invite non-golfers to the driving range, but you might if the range has something like this technology, this Inrange, we'd be like, hey, come on down. They got, beers, they've got whatever. Have a couple drinks while I'm going to hit some balls and whatever. And now all of a sudden, these non-golfers are absorbing that, and they start to get the itch to want to pick up the club.
You're right. I mean, I take my wife, for example. If I asked her to come to a regular range with me on a Saturday, it's a no.
Right.
But when you tie this stuff in, she's all for it.
Right.
So,
which is why, like I said, it's this win-win. It makes it so it's better for golfers because it's more than a range. It has ways that we can make our practice session fun, but it's also better for non-golfers that it's going to bring them into the game. So we'll talk more about our experience today and some of the stuff that we did and the technology itself.
Yes,
more in a second.
Dive into that.
Yeah, because it is remarkable how well it works and how non-intrusive it is.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's just there and it's just working, and you don't have to worry about setting things up or knowing how to use tech. You just hit, right?
The ball just comes up on you. It's just great.
It's incredible. So we'll talk about that in a second. Of course, we want to dive into this week's Twitter tap-in, but before we do, we want to thank our sponsor, Titleist. And guys, we're excited to share a lot of exclusive opportunities from Titleist, but to be part of them, you have to join Team Titleist. And Team Titleist really gives you access to opportunities like prototype testing, special events, limited edition gear from Titleist, so much more. And it is such a easy thing to be a part of. All you have to do is go to Titleist.com/Team Titleist to sign up. It's free. Fill out your profile. You can be part of the Team Titleist community. And I will say that word really rings true, community, because they have Team Titleist Facebook group. They've got Team Titleist on Instagram, and it really is a community, and it's so cool. I was just checking out the Team Titleist community the other day, and it was some young guys who were sharing that their excitement of getting signed for college golf and being a college golfer for the first time.
That's cool, yeah.
There's a lot of hole-in-one stories and things like that, and it is really a great community that's built around that shared love of Titleist and what Titleist really brings to the game. So make sure you guys sign up. You see some of the great stuff, the new golf balls that roll out, the prototype testing. Sometimes we hear how do I get to be a part of that? You get to be a part of that by being in the Team Titleist community. So take 2 seconds, get yourself signed up, and then you can start to reap the benefits of being a Titleist insider as part of that.
Titleist Insider.
Insider.
Frank, before we do the Twitter tap-in, can I just break some news here on the podcast?
100%. Yeah, let's go.
All right. I just got confirmation. I know you're going to be like, Mike, why are you checking your emails during the show? But after 360 episodes, I'm pretty good at doing that, multitask. We are now booked for Pinehurst.
Yes.
Our rooms are booked. Our courses are booked. April, we are going.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
And you guys, I mean, it can't even tell you how many times we had that rise of excitement and then the disappointment when three separate times last year, Pinehurst had to be canceled. And what we would do is we'd book the dates, and we had a lot of travel restrictions here in New York and New Jersey. And we would wait till the last possible minute to see if they lift the travel restriction and then be like, sorry, guys. And the team at Pinehurst, I can't thank them enough for their patience with this entire process.
Big time.
Big time.
I can't wait to meet them and thank them face to face.
Yes,
they're
I feel like
amazing.
The first thing we do is we owe them a drink when we get down there, because so many times going through and having to reschedule because of everything that happened in COVID and the whole shakeup. I mean, we were supposed to go down originally last, I think it was March.
Right.
March
and it started.
It was right when everything hit with COVID, and then we bumped it back. At first, when COVID hit, no one knew what was going on. We thought maybe this will just be a brief cautionary period.
Right.
So we just bumped it back to May, and then by May, things were a real mess.
And then we know where we were. Yeah.
We even tried one last-ditch effort for October.
Yeah.
But October was still rough, and with the kids going back to school, and it was the numbers starting to creep up again, and we're like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it
back on the books.
Back on the books, baby. Yes.
All right, so that's adds a little more excitement to
it. It was worth breaking the action for that news. All right. So guys, if you're not already following us on Twitter, make sure you follow us at Golficity so you can be part of the Twitter tap-in each week. And this week, the question we posed you guys is we said, what PGA Tour player do you think will have a breakout season this year? Who is primed and ready, Mike, to break out this year?
Oh, man. I think the answer is going to be kind of like a cop-out, but I want to say any one of these young guns, but I'll narrow it down a little more, and we're going to see a common theme throughout the answers here. But this Hovland, Wolf, Morikawa, Abraham Answer combo pack.
Yeah.
That's like the 4 guys that I'm rooting for. So I know they're going to like have one of those guys is going to break out. It's hard to just pick one guy who's going to break out. Golf's a hard game. We saw Kevin Na win at the Sony last week, and then he goes +1 in an opening round this week, where every guys are going -8. Golf is hard. Guys are going to change week to week. I think it's going to be one of those 4 guys, and I think it's well-deserved.
Yeah, my breakout pick, and I couldn't agree with you more, because those are the guys that have been on the radar. They've all independently proven that they can do it. But my breakout guy is going to be Lonto Griffin, who we had here on the show just last year. Great guy, and he did some great things on Korn Ferry Tour. Finally punched his PGA Tour card.
Yep.
And I saw towards the end of last year and the beginning of this season, he is just always there in the hunt. I think he played incredibly well through the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yep.
Stayed right there, right down to East Lake, and then now you've got him. Always seemingly top 15, top 10s. I think something is really working. We've seen him, and he talked about on the show, working with Vijay Singh.
He grinded during the quarantine, sure.
He did, and getting some of that experience from Vijay and working hard on his fitness. We had what was the episode? We talked a lot about fitness recently on the show, and talking about how that can help some of these guys really start to stand out. I think that's a big part of it.
Yep.
But let's look at some of these answers. Manny Garcia says AA, Abraham Answer.
There you go.
There's that common
Honest
theme.
Abe.
Yes.
Let's see what we got here.
Blake Higgins says, I think Matt Wolff is ready to take the next step, start winning a bunch of tournaments. Will probably win a major this year. Wow. Big. I mean, major. He was a major contender last year.
That's right.
In the hunt. Where was it? Was it the Open? The U.S. Open? Which nobody was catching Bryson at the end there, but Matt Wolff was in there. Who else you got?
I mean, it's you see the young gun names. You see the Niemans, the more John Lindstrom, Morikawa being in a convo as best in the world. Joaquin Niemann is looking pretty stellar to start his season. But then you get some of the more veterans. Hunter Browning says Ricky Fowler. Love the energy this guy brings to the game, and Ricky needs to break out.
Yeah.
He's a candidate.
It's the hunger this time.
Yeah.
We're seeing the first time that Ricky is on that line where he may not be able to play in the Masters. He might not quite meet the requirements to be playing the Masters, because he's falling in those official World Golf rankings. And that's where I think sometimes you see someone's mettle. You know what I mean? It's like, do they use that as the motivation that they need to really get things back on track? One person who did that, remember when Poulter did that?
Yeah.
Remember when he was
about to lose his tour card?
Right there, about to lose it.
He won.
Yeah. And all of a sudden,
fires you up.
Right. And that shows some of the competitive spirit of these guys. Is sometimes it's that kind of a bit of a fall from grace that that has them come back and do some big things. I would love to see it. I'd love to see Ricky turn it around. I'd love to see Jordan Spieth turn it around.
Love to see Jordan turn it around.
Yeah.
I was always been a fan of Jordan.
But here, Eric Benzenberg, he points out Hovland as well, but he also says hoping to see Koepka come back strong.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to? There's some of these guys that they're just good for the game. Koepka, I think, is another one of those guys who brings people into the game who might not otherwise be on their radar because of his athleticism.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, as though it's waning quite a bit, that the old stereotype golf is not a sport. As you see these guys, who are these real pure athletes play, I think it draws more young kids into the game who are drawn to that, the real athletic types.
Yeah, for sure.
And just it always makes it interesting, in the majors, because he has a way to just step it up.
For sure. I mean, Kirk mentions Tony Finau here. I hope he wants him to get a major. I think this could be a year Tony Finau can win a major. Not for now. Not for later. I say that at home. My kids are like, Dad, stop. But
coming strong with the dad jokes.
Dad jokes are starting already at this age. Yeah. It's terrible. But Tony Finau, I mean, I watched his first round yesterday. The week we're filming this is the American Express out in California. He went -5 yesterday. His game is looking pretty stellar. Mm-hmm. He's always in the hunt, especially around Augusta, things like that. I like Tony. Yeah. I like this call by Curtis Cole, says Xander Schauffele. He says, he's just
too good to not get some solid wins, which is true. And we've seen him move up and up the official World Golf Rankings. So there's a lot of good ones in here. And guys, don't be afraid to still add some of your own. Drop them in the comments below. Or as always, you can answer right on Twitter. Just look for the hashtag #TwitterTapin so that you can do that. But again, just looking forward to yet another great season. I always love this Hawaii swing, and now moving on to California. No, we're gonna have a lot of great golf coming up. Waste Management is around the corner.
Next 2 weeks.
Actually, we're recording this a couple weeks in advance, so it's going to be right around.
We go Torrey Pines right to the Waste Management, and then March is going to come. We got the early players, then we got the API.
Yeah,
love it. Can't wait.
Great stuff. All right, so let's switch gears. Let's do a quick message from our sponsors, and then I want to talk a little bit more in depth about Inrange and some of this technology that's really changing the way we practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to thank ShotScope. All right, everyone, listen up. The new ShotScope Pro L1 laser rangefinder.
That's right. Here. You said rangefinder.
I said rangefinder. I'm not talking about a watch today. It is packed with features that you usually only find with a premium price tag. All right. We think rangefinder. Sometimes we're thinking $300, $350. It's $199, guys. $199, and let me tell you what it comes with. It's got a red and black dual optics, which switch between red or black display for whatever a golfer's preference is. Adaptive slope technology. It calculates the uphill, downhills of a shot, and you can easily turn it off if you're playing in a tournament. Target lock vibration, my favorite feature, because you got your target.
Yep.
Get this, accuracy, 0.1 yard, or
3.6 inches. Yeah.
Guys, that's all we really need.
Right. That's it. That's right.
Don't tell me you need any more. Come
on. Like, I don't know, Mike, which club to play here. This is a 4-inch difference.
It's a 4-inch difference, all right?
Maybe give me my 4-iron. Like I need,
I'll take a little off. But no, it measures in distance in meters. But listen, we've put it in the bag this year. We can't wait to use it. Hey, listen, we love our watches. We love the stat tracking part. We're going to continue to use them. But we love having this thing to pin some exact targets out there, especially, Frank, during the practice sessions on the range. You want to be a little more accurate out there. You want to know exactly how far you're hitting your clubs. It's cool to have a nice rangefinder.
It's no doubt it's a great tool to have, and especially you got on your watch. I've always very much relied on those front, back, middle distances that we get. We've proven, we've talked about it before about how accurate they are. But sometimes, par 3, you're firing at a pin. You want to know it right down to the exact inch in this case.
Yep.
You can shoot it with the laser rangefinder, and similarly, it might be a tree off in the distance. It might be something like that you want to know. It really gives you that. And again, for the price tag, to get all that technology that we've seen in $300+ rangefinders, to see it in a $199 price tag, I think that's where they're going to really stand out in the market.
It's a home run. It comes with a hard shell case. It goes right on the side of your bag. It protects it nicely. Check it out. Visit ShotScope.com. And when you listen to this podcast, last week we just dropped a video of us using it for the first time. We did a little fun one-hole video on that. And hey, man, we had fun out there that day.
We did.
Nice November day at Hollowbrook. So go check it out because you could win one. All right, so go check it out on YouTube. Lastly, want to thank Footjoy, the #1 outerwear brand in golf, committed to helping you extend the golf season as long as possible. Hey, guys, we were out there today in 30-degree weather on the range filming some stuff, so we're committed to make every day playable, and that's what Footjoy is designing their performance apparel to do. So the new Hydro Series line of rain jackets, wore it today out there, includes several options that provide the ultimate protection wherever you're teeing it up this winter. What's new? They got the Hydro Tour. That's what I wore today. Love that jacket because it's thin.
Yeah.
It's not a bulky, thick, Gore-Tex Costanza type jacket. It's super thin. I was ripping drivers with that over this half zip with a long sleeve shirt underneath it. No problem because, mobility is key when you're taking a golf swing. And these guys have nailed it. So play more golf this year. Get the gear you need to play in any condition. Visit footjoy.com/MEDP.
Yeah, taking cuts in 41-degree weather today.
Did it get as high as 41?
Well, it said that on my watch.
Right.
It certainly didn't feel like it with the breeze.
When that picked
but
up,
I'll tell you what, the layering was so key. And just being able to go out there and play with the right layers is the way to go. So let's talk about this. So today, we got the chance to experience in-range technology, and we were at the driving range at Branchburg in New Jersey. The good thing about this technology is you're going to see more and more of it coming to pre-existing driving ranges. So you think of a place like Topgolf, they're incredible, a lot of fun. But like I said, there's not a ton of them. They're starting to pop up here and there, but there's a lot more driving ranges than there are, Topgolf type facilities.
Right.
So the good thing that we're starting to see is this trend where there's adapting this great state-of-the-art technology to pre-existing ranges. An example of that was, where did we play locally?
Rivervale.
That's right. And they had top tracer technology there.
Yeah, they did.
So we're taking these ranges and then we're adding this technology in. And what we said earlier was that the technology itself is non-intrusive. And what I mean by that is, there's nothing special that you have to do as a golfer to be able to use it. It is very much hidden in the background. In fact, if you weren't really actively looking for it, like the actual radar system, you wouldn't see it. It's amazing to me how small it is for what it does. So for an example, in this case, very, very big driving range at Branchburg.
Did all of those greens have the radar in their pins, or was the radar only those two off to the side?
There's actually, the way it's stationed is there's 3 radar stations back where the golfers are, and then there's a few more stationed further out over the range. So what it does is, and you can see this image here, Mike, it blankets the entire driving range area in radar. But what I'm so impressed with is that when you first go in, it knows what bay you're in, and it doesn't matter. There were so many bays at this place, kind of like Topgolf. Everybody's firing away, hitting golf balls.
How they know?
How this thing, it's tracking dozens of golf balls in the air at the same time, and it knows which bay hit which golf ball. It's intense. And all you have to do is just go up there and take swings, and then there's the monitor right there that's in your bay, and you can see where your ball went and how far it went and all that type of stuff. But you can also download this app, and you can have the same information right on your app. But this is where I'm saying there's different levels of it. For your just very casual, kind of new to the game golfer who just wants to go and have some fun and hit targets, and there's games and you're playing cards out there, great. But otherwise, if you're a golfer and this is at your local range and you want to go in and get your practice session in, now it's giving you some of that data that you wanted of distance and stuff like that. But it's also retaining it all in the app. So once you get home, you can look at some of that. So we talked here about dialing your distances and knowing how far you hit each club. You've got that. And I know one question that's going to probably come up for you, because it definitely came up for us, was, well, it's hard to dial in my distances at the range because they're range balls. A lot of times they're limited flight balls. In this case, they're slightly limited flight balls. Well, this tech is so smart that it can actually, it understands that. It'll read the golf ball through the air, but then through some calculations and algorithms, you can set it and say, premium ball mode. Right. And it'll actually calculate what the distance would have been if you had hit a fresh premium ball.
Wow.
I mean, how cool is that?
It's insane.
It really is.
8% edition or something.
Yeah. So like I said, you've got this radar set up, and it'll actually track the ball, and it happens in real time. We would hit the ball, and then you'd see it flying through the air, and then you look over at the screen, and now you'd see your tracer and how it goes. But again, the fact that it identifies it, and the fact that all these golf balls are flying through the air, and how it knows which one was which, I just couldn't believe it, Mike.
That's what kind of blew my mind. This thing was, like you said, there's dozens of balls in the air and it knows which one's yours. But I think one of the things that was a little different for me that I did like, and some people might not like this, is that the games did go quick. You remember how fast they were?
Yeah.
Topgolf, love Topgolf. Not saying anything bad about it. I think it's a great venue, great place to hang out. And I've been there many times. But sometimes the games go a little long, and then people can lose interest. I felt like when we played that blackjack, like we just ran right through it real quick. And it's like, if we wanted to play again, we could play again.
Yeah.
Or who's next? Come on up and play. So the games that the Inrange technology versus Topgolf had were very simple, and it's good. It's simple because it was a display screen with 4 games on the screen, and you just touch screen. Do you want to play blackjack? Do you want to do long drive? Do you want to do the floor is lava, or whatever it's called, or the other one? And you just went right into it. You add your players, and you go. Boom! It was quick. So I like that part, and I see the vibe that the golf range in Branchburg is going for, that Topgolf feel with the refrigerators coming in and the TVs. So I hope that 3, 5, 7, 10 years from now, a lot of ranges in America just look like this.
That's just it. I mean, because like I said, it's so non-intrusive, and you've got just being able to set up these radar. I mean, I'm sure that the hard part is that it's got to be expensive because the technology is so incredible. But I'm sure as driving ranges are making this investment, and I think it's a smart investment now that we live in a COVID world. We're no longer pre-COVID. I think you're going to see more and more activities that are these safe outdoor activities. They're automatically naturally distant because you've got to space out the bays anyway so no one gets hurt. It's outdoors. So I think that's smart. But what I really like about this is it's kind of sneaky. It makes you better in a sneaky way, right? Because we've talked about this. We had the guys from Game Like Training on the podcast a long time ago. They talked about how they're doing this gamification where if you can make your practice sessions feel like a game, and they had done it the lowest tech possible way with a whiteboard and just saying, hit this target this time and then move on and hit this target, that type of thing. But I mean, ultimately, by making these games, what you end up doing is you make it so that you're actually, we talked about this on the podcast before, like, why am I so good on the range and so bad out on the golf course? It's because there's zero pressure situation versus a pressure situation. Now they're creating and simulating pressure, but in a fun way. So for example, one of the games, as Mike had said, is like kind of like this floor is lava type of thing. So you've got all these targets out there, and in between them, in the virtual space, augmented reality space, is lava, right? And as you hit your targets, the targets shrink and get smaller. And now you're having to hit a smaller and smaller and smaller target, and the pressure of losing your turn once you go in the lava gets you saying, like, you have to hit it. So now you are doing what you should have been doing at the range anyway, which is instead of just going out there and beating balls at just wherever they go, it's just no specific defined target. Now you're hitting targets. You're worried about losing a life. It's like Mario Brothers. And you want to just each time get a little bit better. It's what makes it so much more of a similar experience to the golf course when you are firing at this little tiny green and you got to make par on this hole.
Yeah, I love it to call it sneaky. You're getting sneaky good.
It's sneaky good.
Because in the game part of it, as the green shrinks, the value of hitting it goes up. So it entices you to have to go after it. And you're staring down a 56-yard chip shot that's now worth 1,000 points when it started off as 100, but the green, it's like literally a 3-foot landing zone. So that was the cool part of it. And you're right, it does like try to make you sneaky good because I think you're zoned in on that target and you're starting to really focus on your game. So I love that aspect of it as well as everything else, the fun part.
And what's so cool too with this Inrange is it's kind of proof that there are golfers in every interest, in every walk of life. There are golfers, right? And the story of how they developed this is funny because the technical team who helped develop it, they were actually their skill set comes from developing some of the most powerful radio telescopes. So they're out there looking for the origins of the universe. Right?
Yeah.
Now you gotta love the golfer in people, right? Here's a guy that got this powerful radar. They're looking for the origin of the universe, and they're in the back of their mind thinking like, "Well, this could be really cool for my golf game."
Yeah.
Right? How much you gotta love guys like that? So these amateur golfers who saw this and they're like, "Hey, we can use this technology. If we can use this technology to look back at the Big Bang, we could use this technology to track many, many golf balls as they fly through the air." So it's interesting, but
it is cool.
It's something that if you listen to the show regularly, it's a thing we talk about all the time about how excited we are to see how the rapid advancements in technology are creating this accessibility for everyday golfers that weren't there before. We've talked about it with all different types of products. Even you've heard us talk about it like countless times about with ShotScope and how you're getting the stat tracking that only a PGA Tour level player would have for every one of their rounds. Only a few years ago, now everybody is getting access to that at a price point that's much more affordable and more golfers can have it in their hands. Similarly, you don't have to go back too far to have it where things like a launch monitor and a TrackMan, which is a $20,000 device, is going to be able to provide you with the information you need of like trajectory and ball speed and stuff like that. Now, enter these situations where for the price of a bucket of balls, you're getting that because it's there. It's connected now to your app, and you can go back through your session. Just like that day when we did that warm up with the Top Tracer technology, and it's a similar thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at, like, I just Google searched outdoor driving ranges with technology, right? And then the first one that comes up is this Turtle Cove Golf and Baseball in Pelham Park, New York.
Yeah.
Right? And look, 60 minutes and a small bucket of balls on this Top Trace, $25.
$25, and you get the
Right.
tracer.
So
right.
if you go book an hour in a simulator here in New Jersey, it's $50 for the hour, right? And you'll get a nice little session. But I think something like this, that with this technology, $25, dude. I mean, the bucket's usually 10. So like you said,
Right.
extra couple hops, 10, $15 more, and you get this technology. I think it's really, really cool.
Right. It's just one of those areas, again, that shows promise because it checks so many boxes.
Yeah.
The boxes of making golf more fun for the golfer, making you a better golfer by making your practice session more fun. And then the third kind of tier of that is bringing more people into the game with, again, these low pressure, high entertainment kind of entry points for the game. That's, I think, the biggest thing. It's that low pressure, high entertainment. It's where you don't, as a golfer, you don't have to feel weird about asking your non-golfer friends to say, hey, this Friday night, instead of going to XYZ bar, let's go over to the range. And, trust me on this. It's a lot of fun, whatever. It's similar to how, kind of bowling. You don't have to be a bowler to go enjoy bowling, right?
Exactly.
But in this case, you don't have to be a golfer to enjoy it, but it may turn you into one. It very well may, because golf is a sneaky way of getting its hooks in you.
It definitely does, especially if you got a little bit of game in you
Yeah.
that you didn't know about.
Yeah.
Starting those good shots, you want to come back.
And speaking of which, how many times have we seen the videos of different athletes going to Topgolf?
Mm-hmm.
And, and then just, I'm just thinking of some of the baseball and football players that you've seen, like the social clips of where they go there and then all of a sudden they realize, hey, they can hit a golf ball.
I got this. Yeah.
They can hit a golf. Now, I will say, you get on the golf course, sometimes it's a little bit different. You got to get that short game in order. But I'll tell you what, no matter what, like I said, if it helps get your hooks, the hooks into you, and you get out there and you start playing more golf, then I'm a big fan. So, guys, check these out for sure. Check out Inrange. It's inrangegolf.com. You can see a little bit more about the technology, about how it works, and you can start to find some of the locations near you that might have Inrange. If you are anywhere kind of near us, and that's in this case more central New Jersey, check out the driving range, or is it the golf range?
The golf range in Branchburg.
It's called the golf range at Branchburg.
And if you want to just see what we're talking about, the video from today hopefully will be out right around when this podcast is out.
We filmed ourselves going through that little challenge and having some fun with it.
So we filmed it.
We did. So definitely, I strongly encourage checking that out. And like I said, go down there, play, and then see, hey, maybe this is some way that I can get that friend or family member or one of your kids or grandkids who you've kind of always wanted to share the game with, but you weren't sure how to introduce it in a way that's kind of a little bit more fun and lower pressure, lower impact.
Mm-hmm.
This might be the way to do it. Let them go and then let them see you hit some. And now you're hitting targets, and they've got these, like I said, this fun augmented reality space where there's these big targets out there or big playing cards. It just might be a way to introduce the game in a way that may, show a little bit more of an interest in it than just trying to go out on the golf course, which can be intimidating the first time you do it.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. All right. So that's everything we have for you guys this week. You can go to the show notes by going to golficity.com/episode 360. Like I said, check them out. And if you have a range near you that has some cool technology, let us know about it by dropping a comment or posting it in the Facebook group, because we'd love to see some of the different things that are out there. Like I said, it is so good to see so many different tech companies popping up who do this, because ultimately all of that competition and new innovation is going to be great for us as golfers. So if you've got something you want to share with the Golficity community, share it. And make sure you guys join that Facebook group, because it's a great way that we can share some of these different experiences. That's everything we have for you guys. We'll see everybody again next week.